through the information on the screen. We appreciate your comments. They don't just make our show, they make our show better. Thanks for allowing us into your homes. So long for now.
From the Hamilton Halton Niagara News Center, this is CHCH News at 6.
Taking it to the top, the province's top lawyer is asked why charges against a man caught in the act were dropped.
This was the mother of all difficult experiences.
A famous musical family's daughter now says she had an incestuous relationship with her father. And Move Over Diamonds.
The sleaze detector is a girl's best friend.
A new app for your iPhone can help you make the right call on Mr. Right or Wrong. Good evening and thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a follow-up on a disturbing story we first reported earlier this month about a peeping Tom in St. Catharines allowed to walk away from criminal charges. The case was the focus of a question today at Queen's Park. As Loran Sabrin reports this morning, the Attorney General was called on the carpet during question period to explain why a Crown attorney dropped the charges against 19-year-old James Cedar when surveillance video caught him red-handed.
This is the culprit, 19-year-old James Cedar, captured on videotape in Patricia Marshall's backyard, masturbating and peering through her windows, hoping to see her daughters undressed. Cedar was arrested. He admitted to police what he'd done. He was charged with criminal harassment. Months later, when Patricia called for a court date, she was told the charge had been dropped. Neither she nor the police were warned of Crown attorney Wally Essert's decision ahead of time. Now, this peeping Tom lives in North St. Catharines, not too far away from where Paul Bernardo lived. But given people's sensitivities to sex crimes such as this, the question is, why would a St. Catharines Crown attorney not pursue prosecution? This morning at Queen's Park, Whitby Ajax MPP Christine Elliott asked Attorney General Chris Bentley why the charges had been dropped.
What do you have to say to Ms. Marshall and her daughters today?
In the interests of public safety, it's his determination to make, and he did so responsibly.
Patricia Marshall was hoping for more from the Attorney General and questions how responsible the decision was to drop the charges. James Cedar doesn't have to undergo court-ordered therapy, and the harassment of Patricia and her daughters from their neighbor next door continues.
I have video evidence of people whispering in our windows, and just last week they, mocked my daughter in the yard, and they thought it was funny.
Friday night, Patricia says Cedar came around the corner videotaping her camera with his cell phone. She says the only alternative she has right now is to videotape him right back. Loran Sabrin, CHCH News, St. Catharines.
Well, just the word incest is enough to make many cringe, but sex in the family is back in the headlines tonight as a famous daughter drops a bombshell. Mackenzie Phillips, daughter of John Phillips of the Mamas and the Papas, says she had an incestuous relationship with her father. The admission comes in Phillips's new autobiography, High on Arrival.
The word shocking is appropriate here.
She discussed the revelation with Oprah, nervously reading from page 108 of her book.
I woke up that night from a blackout to find myself having sex with my own father. I don't remember how it started, or thankfully how it ended.
The incest didn't end for 10 years. Phillips says because she was often blacked out on drugs, she didn't become aware of the incest until she was 19. And when she realized it, she kept it to herself.
I boxed it away. I started very early on in my life, compartmentalizing, boxing away difficult memories, difficult experiences that I'd had.
Phillips says on her wedding night, her father showed up high, trying to get her to stop the wedding. Even more shocking, Phillips says the relationship became consensual, and that is why she is writing and speaking about it some 30 years later.
I know that I can't be the only one this has happened to. Nobody's talking about this, and someone needs to put a face on not only non-consensual incest, but consensual incest, because I know it exists.
Hamilton police have nabbed a cross-dressing bank robbery suspect. This is a security photo of the man taken during a robbery on Monday afternoon at the Bank of Montreal. Police stopped him later as he was driving along the link. They went to his home, found a pellet gun, wig, and women's clothing used in the Monday bank job, as well as in 5 other alleged robberies in June, July, and August. 42-year-old Terrence, too, is now facing robbery, imitation firearm, and disguise charges. Toronto police have released security camera footage and still images of a missing Toronto teen taken the day before she disappeared. 17-year-old Mariam Makniashvili was last seen September 14th outside her school, Forest Hill Collegiate. These new images show the girl and her brother at Toronto's transportation hub Union Station on their way to volunteer at a Dragon Boat raid event. The girl's father says Mariam's volunteer shift at the event the day before she vanished did not contribute to her disappearance. Mariam and George were part of a group of 10 immigrant youth in the YMCA's Newcomer Youth Leadership Development Program. Well, Jim Balsillie is pulling out all the stops to try and convince a bankruptcy judge to award him the Phoenix Coyotes. He's now pledging to keep the Coyotes in Glendale this year if he wins the bid to own the team in a hearing. Now, in a hearing today, Balsillie's lawyers told Judge Baum the club would play a season in Glendale this season, which opens October 3rd, but Balsillie still intends to move the team to Hamilton as part of his $242.5 million bid. The revised offer came during today's emergency hearing. The judge called Balsillie's proposal a fairly significant change. He also called the hearing after the club's current owner, Jerry Moyes, requested to force the NHL into mediation over contentious issues surrounding the club's sale. But Baum still has not ruled on the ownership issue. Gabe Macaluso, the former CEO of Cops Coliseum, says Judge Baum has a history of pushing matters into mediation.
Judge Baum is one that believes in people talking their disagreements to a final conclusion, rather than have it litigated in the courts. Because with that, he feels that there's finality, that there's a win-win situation, whereas in a trial, there's only one winner.
Now, Baum has been known to take his time making decisions. Today in court, he seemed to be leaning towards mediation, saying the thing about mediation is that if everyone agrees, it's over. Niagara Regional Police have identified an elderly man who died Sunday. The man was riding his blue and silver Schwinn bike on Carlton Street in Niagara-on-the-Lake when he was hit by a van and thrown into a ditch. He died in hospital of severe head injuries. The victim was a 76-year-old man from St. Catharines. The family has asked his name not be released. Well, the Baldassaro brothers are back in hot water tonight. Church of the Universe founders Michael Baldassaro and Walter Tucker turned themselves into police today. They're now waiting to find out if they'll spend more time in jail for selling $70 worth of marijuana to an undercover officer. But despite the charges, the brothers still don't see themselves as criminals.
Marijuana is still not in the Criminal Code of Canada. It is a federal civil health law. And here I am standing before a criminal jail to find out whether I'm going to go back to Millhaven for 23-hour lockup and penitentiary, the filthiest place on the planet where they stored him. My God.
Last year, both brothers served time behind bars for the same incident. Their church on Barton Street was also seized by authorities. Hamilton City Council holding an emergency meeting tomorrow afternoon to deal with the fallout from an unfinished downtown condo project. Reports say taxpayers may be out more than $1 million because of a loan the city made to the developer. Construction was 75% finished when the developer's money ran out. The developer, a numbered company owned by Harry Ganatra of Ancaster, is in receivership, and the receiver is looking to sell the building to recoup some of the $1 million it's owed. Well, in the middle of the Niagara's annual Grape and Wine Festival, there's a fear dozens of grape growers could go bankrupt this year. The plight of these families was brought to Queen's Park today, but as Natalie Marconi tells us, there doesn't appear to be any immediate help forthcoming from the Liberal government.
This could be the last harvest for Dave Wiley, an 8th-generation farmer. So far, he's only sold 20% of the grapes on his 160-acre farm.
The government has never come to terms with the fact that there is not a true interpretation of what the term Ontario wine is.
At least 30 Niagara grape-growing families are threatened with bankruptcy right now.
Ontario NDP leader Andrea Horvath went looking for answers at Queen's Park.
The Wiley's grapes are ripe, but they remain unsold. The reason? The McGuinty government is okay with the domestic content in cellared in Canada wines to sit at a measly 30%.
Which means only a few sips of the wine you're buying at the LCBO could potentially come from Ontario grapes, even though it's labeled as being cellared here. Ontario's Minister for Consumer Services said the government has been in contact with both the grape growers and Niagara Wine Council.
We've had a number of meetings with them. We continue to meet on this issue, and we're quite hopeful that we'll have a strategy going forward with respect to this.
But Wiley says promises for change were made by Premier Dalton McGuinty back in February. Promises still unfulfilled.
If there's not a government program that works towards compensating us for the circumstances that the government has allowed us to fall into, then my father and I are basically finished, and I'm not even sure we could sell the farm and clear our debts.
Leaving a very sour taste on the lips of many Niagara farmers. Natalie Marconi, CHCH News.
Of course, wineries and vineyards are a big draw in the Niagara region, but weather, the economy, and border issues are all factors in Niagara's tourism industry. Adam Atkinson spoke with two very different businesses today to find out how this year's going tourist-wise.
Bad weather is not just a one-day thing. It's like an avalanche. It comes and it stops tourism completely. It's a highlight, you know, for any tourist who comes.
The pilot and owner of Niagara Helicopters Limited says it was a tough winter and an even harder summer. Even though business took off at the end of July, it's still down 10% from last year.
You got to cut your losses. This year, I think we have to cut the losses.
Looking up in Niagara Falls, you're sure to see the new addition to the Hilton Falls View Hotel, a 51-story tower that opened in June.
We're pretty fortunate. We've been running at a very high occupancy, in the 97-98% occupancy since we've opened.
But hotel officials say business overall in Niagara Falls is down, and they blame the border and the fact you need a passport to cross it.
We now are dealing with day trip business that is literally half of what it was prior to 2001.
The border, the weather, and the economy couldn't stop these English tourists from taking in the falls from the air.
So much nicer from up in the air, looking down. Looks so different.
Well, I thought it was absolutely incredible. It's the sort of thing you wouldn't see, you know, from anything else. I mean, you can get up in tall buildings and what have you, but not to see it like that. That's absolutely amazing.
And now this couple can check the falls off their to-do list before heading home to London. Adam Atkinson, CHCH News, Niagara Falls.
Well, as you can see from Adam's story, not a bad day for sightseeing. A damp start, but a great afternoon so far into the evening. Let's go outside now. Matt Hayes standing by with his first check on the forecast. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Nick. And yes, a very nice second half to the day, and that's a very good omen for what's to come. We have two very nice days coming our way. We're going to finally lose some of this humidity, so if you found that a little tough to bear, the good news is we'll start to see a bit of a cooling trend overnight tonight, then a couple of days of sunshine and temperatures more normal with humidity levels back to normal. It'll be nice and pleasant and comfortable. All the details coming up later in the show. Right now, Nick, back to you.
Thanks, Matt. Well, as we've been reporting all day on News Now, the Prime Minister was in Oakville today celebrating and taking credit for a corporate reorganization that has made Tim Hortons a Canadian company once again. And as Jacques Robot tells us, Harper blew off an important international event at the United Nations to be here.
For a majority of G8 countries, it was a must-do event. The leaders of France, Italy, Russia, the UK, and the United States all addressing the opening of the UN General Assembly. But Canada's Prime Minister chose to do something else today.
I've actually got hot chocolate.
Stephen Harper paid a visit to Tim Hortons' Canadian headquarters. He was here not just pitching their coffee,
Nothing motivates the team more than a box of Timbits.
but also proudly noting our lower tax rates have convinced Tim Hortons to move back to Canada from the U.S.
The bottom line is that Canada is now not just a great place to live, it is a great place to invest and to do business.
A partisan pitch to highlight the benefits of the Conservatives' tax-cutting record. But outside, a small group of Liberals was also playing politics, saying Harper should have been at the UN, not speaking with donuts in the background.
It's Canada basically saying the UN doesn't matter. And for all its faults, the UN does matter. And it still remains the last best hope for global peace and security.
The Prime Minister says he can't see what all the fuss is about.
It's fairly standard for a Canadian Foreign Affairs Minister to be the representative of Canada at the UN General Assembly meeting.
Well, that's true for the Conservatives. Harper has had 4 opportunities to speak to the General Assembly and done it just once. In the 4 years before that, a Liberal Prime Minister showed up 3 times.
This is a Prime Minister who is not a great aficionado of the United Nations. And so I think he feels that it's not really necessary for him to be there.
Even if he wanted to speak at the UN, Harper says he couldn't, because Canada is scheduled to appear on Friday, when Harper will be at the G20 meetings. But diplomatic sources say countries often trade time slots, and scheduling conflicts can usually be resolved.
And another historic Canadian company could soon be repatriated. The current American owner of Canada's oldest retailer is planning a public stock auction for as soon as the first half of 2011. No decisions have been made on just how much stock will be sold off, but it could also include a stake in Lord & Taylor, the company's sister department store in the U.S. The Bay is currently owned by a New York-based private equity firm. Plans for the next year call for a number of experiments to boost sales and profits, and the unveiling of the Canadian Olympic uniforms are coming next Thursday. Well, the powerful words of a Holocaust survivor were echoing through Hamilton Police headquarters today. As Melanie Ng reports, Albert Rosa's story captivated and moved the officers, students, and community members in his audience.
Albert Rosa was only 14 when German troops uprooted his family in Greece and took them to a concentration camp in Auschwitz. As the only survivor in his family, Rosa now shares his experience with audiences across North America. At the Halton Police headquarters this morning, it was clear that both he and his audience were emotional.
Talking about people your family get killed, this is a hurt, you know. Took me a while to be able to control myself.
His message of tolerance left many thinking about ways to apply it to their own lives.
A lot of people just kind of slip under the radar when they're not really educated about diversity and about tolerance especially. If you make the issue more known, especially in schools, as senior students, we can definitely help out the younger students.
I think it gives me such a better understanding of the community and of the culture. First thing I intend to do is take it back to the other road officers.
Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad questioned the existence of the Holocaust as recently as Friday. That's why Canada boycotted his address to the United Nations today. Rosa can't believe Ahmadinejad's position.
As an ignorant person, the only thing is to go to Auschwitz and see the crematoriums over there. Then you're going to believe in his own eyes. Or to different camps. There was quite a few camps where they killed millions of Jews there. So go ahead and you look with your own eyes. You're going to see what it's true. It's not a make-believe.
Rosa not only wants people to learn through his life story, but to stop and think about their own surroundings. Having lived through both physical and psychological pain, Rosa is a true fighter and example. Melanie Ng, CHCH News, Oakville.
The Ontario Medical Association is now campaigning against the province's plan to allow pharmacists and nurse practitioners to write prescriptions. The organization's family practice division says patients need to carefully consider how they get their medical care, saying patient safety is of vital importance. Doctors say they understand the healthcare system faces many challenges, but they're trying to ensure patients get the best quality of care.
Listening carefully to that.
Most of us provide 24/7 and 365-day care during all the unsociable days and times. What other healthcare provider do you know that has the education, training, and experience to work in such a wide breadth of care? We do this daily for a vast majority of our careers, and our motives are not driven by politics. Unfortunately, our advocacy must always be at the political level, since politicians, by their actions, have shown in the past that they only care about what voters think at election time.
Now, the Premier says his government just wants to fully utilize all members of the healthcare system.
Is that we keep putting more and more money into healthcare, all for good reason, but we need to find ways to deliver that care more and more efficiently. And that's why we're the first province in Canada that's going to move forward with nurse practitioner-led clinics.
Well, McMaster University receiving a big financial gift today. The president of the university accepting a $500,000 donation from CIBC. The money will establish the CIBC undergraduate bursaries in nursing. The program will be for undergrad students with a specific interest in breast cancer research and education. The donation will be matched by the Ontario Trust for Student Support, raising the money to $1 million. Well, the union representing Ford workers says contract talks have broken off due to Ford's unwillingness to keep its plant in St. Thomas open. The Canadian Auto Workers Union has asked Ford to maintain its manufacturing footprint in Canada in exchange for concessions from workers. But Ford says it currently has no plans for any vehicles at the plant past 2011. The St. Thomas plant employs about 1,500 workers in one shift alone. Well, the U.S. Federal Reserve's cautious outlook about the economic recovery sent markets lower on both sides of the border today. In Toronto, the TSX falling 68, the Dow dropping 81, and the NASDAQ losing 15. Our dollar's flying half a cent lower at 93.01 cents U.S. The price of gold down nearly 5, and the price of crude slipped $2.79 to $68.97 a barrel. Still to come tonight, a Made in Hamilton solution for portable power problems. And it's not something guys generally want to talk about, but reporter Scott Urquhart is ready to put a serious men's health problem behind him thanks to some professional advice.
Good morning.
Morning, Jane. What's going on with you?
Frank took me to Fallsview Casino on the weekend. They treated us like such VIPs. Gotta burn off the free dinners. You know how it is.
Not really. Toodles.
Closed caption. You're watching CHCH, Canada's superstation.
A lot of bad jokes, but the Welcome back. It's the butt of a lot of bad jokes, but the truth is you don't want to get caught with your pants down when it comes to prostate cancer. It is the most common of all cancers in men, and each week 85 Canadian men will die from its effects. If you're over 50, as our reporter Scott Urquhart is, it's time to learn a few things about prostate cancer, most importantly, how to survive.
So I got my marching orders, but really, this is the last place I want to be.
Check that. Correction. This is the last place I want to be.
So you're the ideal candidate. You're in your 50s, you're healthy, you have really no other medical issues, and you have at least a 10-year life expectancy.
Prostate cancer is no joke. It needs to be detected early. And despite some controversy, Dr. Edward Matsumoto says the PSA test is still the best defense.
It's just a poke, and that's all there is to it. Everyone thinks it's more invasive than that, but it's just a simple blood test.
So it's just a little poke. It wasn't much. It's really the other poke that I'm concerned about.
The prostate examination, which is a simple digital rectal examination.
Yeah, that's the one.
You have to have a digital, suck it up, get it done, and then go from there. But you can't avoid this. You have to get it done.
George Morash should know. He's been through it.
Surgery itself was minimal intrusion. I got laparoscopic. They punched the 4 holes in you, and then they removed the tissue, and the recovery rate for me was about 8 to 10 days. I was back playing hockey in a month. No one should die from this disease.
And Dr. Matsumoto says those annual checkups are the key.
Like I said, once they're done annually, we can actually follow the trend. And in fact, I think we get more information, better information from a trend of the PSA rather than a single static PSA reading.
George took the doctor's advice, and he's glad he did.
I just want to thank him for allowing me to walk my daughter down the aisle last week. It was beautiful.
In Hamilton, Scott Urquhart, CHCH News.
Well, a rare dust storm has swept across Sydney, Australia. The dust clouded the views of Sydney's Harbour Bridge and Opera House today. Visibility, in fact, was so poor, drivers were warned to take it slow, and a lot of flights, understandably, were cancelled. Glad we never have to put up with that, Matt, but we have had to put up with a little bit of iffy weather recently, but today turned out to be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, Nick, we had a great second half, and it's a good sign for what's to come tomorrow, and people who haven't been a fan of the humidity will like to know that that's moving out of the area as well, and we'll be back to some normal temperatures, very pleasant weather coming our way. Here's a look at current satellite radar, and as we look to the late stage shots, of course, that's where we start to see the clearing skies. We've actually been seeing those skies clear up over the course of the afternoon, and it looks like as we go further on into the evening, we're just looking at scattered clouds. Again, a good sign for what's to come. So there's that cold front now pushing off to the east, and of course, that was the reason for a lot of the instability over the last couple of days. Now that the cold front is moving by, we'll finally get a bit of a break from the real tough humidity and get back into some normal values. Tomorrow, ridge of high pressure becomes the main feature, and that means the air mass nice and dry. So we'll be looking at mostly clear skies throughout the day, and not only for tomorrow, but it looks like into Friday as well. For tonight, we're down around 14 to 16 degrees. This in itself a sign that we're getting into some cooler air. The last few nights, we've been sitting at around 19 or 20 for overnight lows. So signs of a break here. Again, a few clouds. Tomorrow, we're looking at a gorgeous day of sunshine, maybe a few clouds in the afternoon, but still a very pleasant day. Temperatures back to normal, 18 to 20 degrees. So as we look for Halton tonight, we're down to 15. Tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud and 19. Niagara, 16 overnight, 20 degrees tomorrow with partly cloudy skies. And our sun time, sun up at 7:08, sundown at 7:14 tomorrow. Normal high 19, normal low 9, so it looks like everything is falling back into place. Coming up in 20 minutes, a look at your 5-day right now. Nick, back to you.
All right, thanks, Matt. Well, a Hamilton company is showing off a new high-tech product aiming at providing power anywhere. A company called One Power is launching their One Power containment unit. It's made up of old sea shipping containers. The company strips down the entire container, leaving only the frame. The portable power generating unit can store a number of items like water purification systems and air compressors. The unit's designed to be versatile and can be used for a number of projects.
They are used in disaster relief, remote sites where there's no power, but they also, outside of power, they need other equipment such as welders, pneumatics, hydraulics, water filtration, HVAC systems. It's just, the list goes on. The imagination is as far as you want to take it.
The power unit can be controlled from anywhere in the world using a Wi-Fi connection. The company says they also have access to a satellite system. All right, time for Check on Traffic right now. Kimberly Fowler joins us by phone and checks the situation out through the compass cams. How's it moving right now, Mel? Kim?
Oh, thanks, Vic. Right now we're looking at the QEW heading through Oakville. We've got to look at Royal Windsor. We're going to head towards Dorval. We had some minor problems blocking one of the live lanes, the right lane, but it's been cleared away. But here's a look at some of the backup in the area. Elsewhere, QEW through Oakville, Burlington on the eastbound side. That's going across the bottom of your screen. Just a bit of volume, mainly through Oakville. Burlington Skyway Bridge, still busy going over the top of the bridge down through to Burlington Street. We've got some ongoing construction through there, blocking the left lane. In town, collision at King and Bay. Pella Windows and Doors help keep you warm in winter and cooler in summer. Call 1-888-955-VIEW to learn more. That's 1-888-955-8439. That's a look at the traffic for CHCH News. I'm Kimberly Fowler. Nick, we'll throw it back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Kim. Still to come, Mark Hebscher has an opinion on how disabled people are getting around on our streets. And coming up next, going on a date, we'll tell you about a new iPhone app that can help you be, well, informed about who you're with. Release a new single.
Are you searching for your first or second career? Trios College offers more than 25 diploma programs in business, technology, healthcare, and law. Start a rewarding career as a law clerk, network engineer, business administrator, police officer, and more. Hands-on training, industry internships, and our career services consultants prepare you to be job ready in about 1 year. Contact Trios College today for more information. 1-888-320-3475 or trioscollege.ca.
Let's get tough. CLR tough. CLR is #1 for a reason. It works. CLR's enhanced formula works 5 times faster, takes less effort, and cleans better than the competition. 5 times. CLR, a name you've trusted for over 20 years for cleaning your clogged or slow-running shower head, rust around the faucet, dissolving rust and calcium buildup in your dishwasher and washing machine. CLR will make your coffee maker run like it's new again. CLR is great for removing stains on vinyl siding, cement, and porcelain. Tough-acting enhanced formula CLR has natural ingredients and even more cleaning power. CLR, #1 for a reason. It works. And we guarantee it for your money back.
At participating Canadian Tire, Home Hardware and Building Centers, Zehrs, No Frills, Rona, Zellers, Sobeys, Foodland, Shoppers Drug Mart, True Value, VNS, Pro Ace, Rexall Pharma Plus, Co-op Stores, TSC Stores, Home Depot.
You're watching CHCH, Canada's Superstation.
Welcome back. It's time for Mark Hebscher's Daily Rant, and today promises to be interesting and, as usual, controversial.
You've traveled around downtown Hamilton?
Sure have. I was there today. Yeah.
All right. And I was there today. I was there yesterday, too. And, folks, if you've ever traveled around downtown Hamilton, you've likely noticed a good number of motorized wheelchairs. Perhaps one of them has buzzed by you on the sidewalk, or you've had to avoid one that's zipping through the mall. That's what happened to me yesterday, as I narrowly avoided getting run over by an overzealous driver piloting one of these 500-pound beasts. Now, I'm sorry, folks, but if you're driving one of these things, you have to follow the same rules as pedestrians do. If you don't, somebody's going to get hurt, and that leads me to another important point. Just because you don't need a license, don't need registration, don't need seatbelts, don't need a helmet, and don't need insurance doesn't mean you can drive like an idiot. You're supposed to drive at the same speed as pedestrian traffic, not weave all over the place. And since you're driving a motorized vehicle, it might be a good idea to avoid alcohol or medication that might just affect your skills and judgment. Now, you might think I'm picking on a small portion of the population, but I'm not, because there are plenty of idiots who drive cars, trucks, motorcycles, bikes, and skateboards, and I've ranted about them in the past and likely will in the future. I'm concerned, though, that somebody's going to get run over one day, and then what happens? Whose insurance covers any injuries? Can the cops charge the operator? And should a wheelchair have to move over to one side? Or is that up to the able-bodied pedestrian? Oh, and one other thing. Just because you're considered a pedestrian doesn't mean you can talk on your cell phone or text your friend while you're driving the wheelchair. It's not against the law. It's just common sense. And if Elmer the safety elephant were here today, he would likely applaud me.
Perhaps he would, but will the audience applaud you? Let's find out. If you want to respond to Mark, go ahead. Send us an email to tips@chchnews.ca. We may air some of your responses. Well, we all know that dating can be difficult at the best of times, but now there's a new iPhone application that may make decisions about dumping a new date a little easier. It's called the Date Check application, and as Cindy Chordash reports, the app can turn your iPhone into a sleaze detector in the palm of your hand.
Is he Mr. Right? Or Mr. Get Me Right Out of Here? Date Check can help you find out.
It's an application you can download onto your iPhone.
The sleaze detector is a girl's best friend. It scans state criminal records and shows if anyone matching that name has been charged with a crime.
The application allows you to see if someone is still living at home with their parents or what their net worth is. Nick Bontis has done technical research for BlackBerry.
It's technically known as an information aggregator because what it's doing is it's taking information from a variety of different databases, criminal check, the real estate market, birthday information, and it's putting it together in one nice compact package.
It'll be available for American users in the next 2 days, but will it be allowed in Canada?
I think it's going to be a challenge to actually get the full functionality of the software up and running in Canada because of our information privacy laws. In fact, it was Canada that spearheaded the changes, as everybody recalls, with regards to Facebook and what type of information Facebook is allowed to reveal about every user.
A spokesperson with Intellius, a background check powerhouse in the United States, says this date check application is tougher on dates than most dads are.
Oh, my dad actually really likes my boyfriend.
I can definitely see the benefits in using a program such as this, like for safety reasons.
I think I would feel weird if someone was kind of researching me first before they felt me out.
I think I'd only use that application if I went on a first date and something seemed off with the person.
Maybe you were young, you made a mistake, or you have some extenuating circumstance that might explain something. Let's say somebody sees this, they make an assumption, and then it goes nowhere.
I wouldn't want to be judged based on what they found about me.
One reason why daters may consider honesty the best policy. Cindy Chordash, CHCH News, Hamilton.
Matt, of course, a long way from your dating days. Would you use an application like that?
Well, I wouldn't need one. This little ring tells everyone I'm off the market.
Prior to is what I'm suggesting.
Prior to, yeah, that might come in a little handy.
I guess it could, couldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. If I had that app on my phone now, though, I think my wife would
There
be
might
a
be
little
an issue
concerned.
there. Anyway, you better fill us in on all the Hollywood news and reports tonight.
All right. Well, you know, Nick, that there is so much Michael Jackson music in the vaults that they could release Michael Jackson music for
be like the
years to
Beatles.
come. Absolutely,
Or Elvis,
absolutely.
yeah.
But you know what? The first posthumous release of a new Michael Jackson song, This Is It, is scheduled for October 12th. Sony Music Entertainment offered few details about this song, except to say it includes backing vocals by Jackson's brothers. 2 weeks later, Sony is releasing a 2-disc set to coincide with the movie that shows scenes of Jackson rehearsing for a series of London concerts. Of course, Jackson died before publicly stepping back on stage. On to happier news. Grey's Anatomy star Ellen Pompeo is a mom. The actress who plays Dr. Meredith Grey gave birth to a daughter, Stella Luna Pompeo Ivory. She is the first child for the actress and her record producer husband, Chris Ivy. It's a girl for Scooby-Doo stars Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. The couple named their daughter Charlotte Grace Prinze. She was born Saturday. It was the first child for the acting duo, who first met in 1997 while filming I Know What You Did Last Summer and married in 2002. Coming soon to a theater near you, I Know What You Did 9 months ago. John Travolta took the stand in a Bahamas courtroom today. Travolta arrived for a trial against two people accused of trying to blackmail him. During the hearing, Travolta described the moments before his son's death. Jet Travolta fell sick while on a family vacation in the Bahamas. The actor is the star witness at the trial of two men, a paramedic and a former Bahamas senator, who are accused of trying to extort $25 million. Both men have pled not guilty. It may have only been seen for minutes on the big screen, but an auction house expects fans to pay thousands for it. We're talking about Megan Fox's black leather motorcycle costume from the latest Transformers movie. It's up for auction next month in LA. The costume, along with her shorts and tank top, are expected to go for $3,000 to $5,000 US. Also up for grabs, one of the 17-foot-tall robots from Transformers. The robot will go to somebody in their parents' basement.
Megan Fox makes sort of regular appearances here on the Mad Hay Show. I wonder what that bathing suit would go for.
You ready to offer a bid?
I'm just suggesting perhaps you might.
Oh, yeah. No. Once again, that's kind of like the app for the phone.
Right, okay.
Yeah, that's not going to go down
very well.
Memorabilia, Matt. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can I sell it like that?
I think so.
All right, thanks, Nick. Yeah. All right, you can be my negotiator. Sony dropped its price on the PlayStation in August. Microsoft did the same with their Xbox. Now it looks like Nintendo is going to follow suit. According to a leaked memo from the Best Buy Corporation, the Nintendo Wii may see its $250 US price tag drop by $50 beginning Sunday. While tech blog Engadget is reporting the findings, representatives for Nintendo and Best Buy have not yet commented. The Wii is the top-selling console worldwide, but saw its US sales fall 39% last month. And before we go, a reminder, tonight's CHCH movies, Happy Texas with William H. Macy and Steve Zahn at 7, and then the 1986 drama Extremities starring the late Farrah Fawcett. It begins at 9.
Okay, so I think what I learned from that is Matt's a good husband, and secondly, don't buy a Wii until Sunday. You know, if you're thinking about it, maybe hold off.
All my wife heard is, Matt's a good husband.
Yeah, he definitely is. Good guy, too. All right, thanks, Matt. Well, coming up next, we'll take a look at tonight's top stories, and the other couple in the wrong embryo story has their say.
The vineyards of Niagara provide a bountiful harvest. To celebrate, we toast the season with wine events across Niagara, and we welcome you to join us. Hi, I'm Donald Zeraldo. The Niagara Grape and Wine Festival is the largest in Canada. Wine tastings are Niagara culinary experiences, artisan shows, and live entertainment. And it finishes with our grand parade in St. Catharines. Come and celebrate with us in September, the Niagara Grape and Wine Festival.
It's the Radio City Christmas Spectacular, starring the world-famous Rockettes. Time magazine calls it the grandest holiday show of all time and says bring the whole family. Fill your heart with Christmas. Get tickets at RadioCityChristmas.com today.
From scuffs on baseboards to soap scum in the bathtub, everyone's finding new places to clean with the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. Discover 1,001 places to clean. Pass it on.
At Dodge, we build dugouts. We build lockers. We build easy chairs. We build movie theaters. We build Canada's best-selling minivan, Dodge Grand Caravan. Come see what we've built for you. Get up to $7,200 consumer cash plus 0% financing on Dodge Grand Caravan. Visit your Dodge retailer today.
Welcome back. Canada's commitment to the United Nations goes back to its founding in 1945, and over the years, we've played some critical roles. But as the UN opened a new session in New York today, Canada's government did something it's never done before. It marched out in protest over a speaker. Eric Sorensen tells us who.
The usual take-no-chances security at the United Nations. Streets blocked, police manning barricades, snipers at the ready. Inside, though, a different tone by the leader everyone came to hear.
The United States stands ready to begin a new chapter of international cooperation.
U.S. President Obama acknowledged America's us versus them image in the past and promised to work more cooperatively in the future on the global economy, on peace in the Middle East, and to address global warming.
But make no mistake, this cannot solely be America's endeavor. Those who used to chastise America for acting alone in the world cannot now stand by and wait for America to solve the world's problems alone.
Obama also pushed for nuclear disarmament, a message to the nuclear powers, but also to Iran. Ahead of the address by Iran's Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, many countries were preparing to walk out, including Canada, for the first time at the General Assembly, led by Foreign Affairs Minister Lawrence Cannon. Stephen Harper is not at the UN today. The protest is against a regime that many fear wants to build a nuclear weapon and threaten Israel's very existence.
It is important that countries that have a moral compass stand up, make their views known, and our absence there will speak volumes about how Canada feels about the declarations of President Ahmadinejad.
The world's previous international renegade, Libya's Muammar Gaddafi, made his first appearance at the UN, which brought out protesters, though he was more of a sideshow. From the tent he hoped to stay in on Donald Trump's property to his long, rambling speech, which even questioned the Kennedy assassination.
Lee Harvey and then another Jack Ruby killed Lee Harvey. Why did he kill him?
It's a whirlwind week for many leaders. Prime Minister Harper returns to New York briefly on Thursday morning for meetings on Pakistan before heading to Pittsburgh for the G20 Economic Summit.
All right, let's check on our top stories this hour, and we have a follow-up on a disturbing story we first reported earlier this month tonight about a peeping Tom in St. Catharines who was allowed to walk away from criminal charges. This morning, Attorney General Chris Bentley was called on to explain why the charges were dropped when surveillance video caught the man red-handed. The answer didn't satisfy the family. A shocking revelation today from Mackenzie Phillips, who says she had an incestuous relationship with her father, John Phillips of the Mamas and Papas. Appearing on the Oprah Winfrey Show, Phillips said the sex started while she was blacked out on drugs and later became consensual. BlackBerry billionaire Jim Balsillie says he'll keep the Phoenix Coyotes in Glendale this season if he wins the auction of the bankrupt team. The NHL is the only other bidder. Balsillie's revised offer was tabled during today's emergency hearing before bankruptcy judge Redfield T. Baum. Well, last night at 6, we told you about an Ohio couple who discovered they were pregnant, but with someone else's child. Well, now the biological parents of that baby are speaking out. Amy Robach has their story.
Meet Shannon and Paul Morrell. Like the Savages, they still have a hard time believing what happened.
It's overwhelming. It is. I mean, now that the birth is close, it's almost too much to fathom.
After 4 years of trying to conceive naturally, Shannon and Paul turned to in vitro fertilization, or IVF. After suffering 2 miscarriages, they were thrilled to give birth to twin girls, Ellie and Megan, 2.5 years ago. And like Sean and Carolyn Savage, they had their extra embryos frozen for future use.
You were hoping for a third child?
Sure. We have 2 cute girls that are adorable and fun and have blessed us. We always thought about those 6 embryos.
But then the Morrells received news from their IVF doctor that would change their lives forever.
That he said, your embryos were implanted into another woman. And I just went, and I just fell back in the couch.
Well, we just stared at each other and
I said, and she's,
we were
he
confused.
Said, pregnant. And I thought, oh my.
When Carolyn Savage was 14 weeks along, the Savages met the Morels. The Savages described that meeting on Monday.
I think she started with a thank you.
She was so grateful for what we had done.
I just spoke from my heart, and I said, you know, this has been really tough for us, too. And I just wanted them to know how much we appreciated what they were doing.
That was 5 months ago, and now as Carolyn Savage prepares to give birth to the Morels' baby boy, the Savages have one request.
I said, we want a moment to say hello and goodbye. That'll be hard.
As for any future contact, they told Meredith they are leaving that up to the Morels.
We will wonder and about this child every day for the rest of our lives, and we have hopes for him, but they're his parents, and we'll defer to their judgment. You know, we just want to know he's happy and healthy.
Today, Paul and Shannon prepare their daughters for the arrival of their new baby brother.
Ellie said, no, baby brother, baby sister. So anyway, she'll love him when he comes.
A child they didn't expect to get under these circumstances, and grateful to the Savages for bringing him into the world.
There's no way we could possibly repay them for what they've done for us.
And how? How do you do that?
You can't, because you can't put a price on human life. It's priceless. I think just trying to be the best parents that we can be and be respectful of them as a family. Whatever access they want, they have. And hopefully we'll move forward together.
All right, let's see if traffic is moving forward or just standing still. Kimberly Fowler's back by phone and checking things out through the Compass Cams. Hey there, Kim.
Thanks, Nick. Westbound QEW, still a little bit of heading in towards the Mississauga run, 427, just before Cawthra. Other than that, not too bad, easing off in towards Oakville and Burlington. 403 Skyway Bridge, as is the Red Hill Valley Parkway. But keep in mind, again, Niagara-bound QEW through Burlington Street, left lane, we have some construction in that area. Getting the best rate on your car insurance, are you sure? With just one visit to kinetics.ca, you can compare insurance quotes online from competing insurers. That's KANETIX.ca. Checking traffic for CHCH News, I'm Kimberly Fowler.
I'm Kate Stutzman. In sports, we'll have more on the story of Jim Balsley pledging to keep the Phoenix Coyotes in Glendale. That's coming up. Stay with us.
For 80 years, Miller Shoes have been dressing your feet in style and comfort. Now, with the addition of Miller's on the Mountain, we've got 2 great reasons to celebrate. You'll find an impressive selection of fashionable footwear in all the latest designs and colors. Plus, experience the helpful service you've come to expect from Miller's on James Street. And now available at our Mountain location only, a wide variety of children's shoes. So remember,
if the shoe fits, you must have got it here.
Visit Miller Shoes, now with 2 great locations to serve you.
This program segment is brought to you in part by First Ontario. It's time to break up with your big bank.
Pollard Windows and Doors builds one of the most energy efficient and environmentally friendly products in the industry. Proud members of the Canadian and U.S. Green Building Councils, they have earned the Energy Star. Call Pollard and don't miss out on the 2009 tax credit.
We place Leah's sofa in this glass box full of black cats.
Wait, no!
To demonstrate the cleaning power of our newest Pledge product.
I'm gonna clean my couch with this Pledge?
Not that Pledge, Leah. Meet the new Pledge Fabric Sweeper. It's quick and effective, removing as much pet hair as 145 sticky lint roller sheets.
Wow, it really works. Ooh, that is one big hairball.
Pick up pet hair. That's the beauty of the new Pledge Fabric Sweeper. You'll find it where you find Pledge. SC Johnson, a family company.
If someone asked me how they can make money right now, I'd say do what I'm doing, sell Avon.
So I did it part-time for a couple of years, and now I'm doing it full-time.
My first couple weeks, I sold over $800 with Avon.
It's really been wonderful that I have this business that helps me take care of my children and my family.
Call Avon now, and we'll help you get started.
I can't get fired. I can't get laid off. It's my business.
Now I'm running a fantastic business.
It's just a great way to earn money.
You're always on the go. So First Choice Hair Cutters lets you pop in anytime. For fresh cuts, colors, and styles that are so easy to love. First Choice Haircutters. Style to go.
You're watching CHCH, Canada's superstation.
All right, it's time for sports, and Kate Stutzman's in tonight, and she starts off with a little more on the Balsley court saga. It just goes on and on.
It does, and I mean, the surprising announcement today, I think it had a lot of people surprised.
Absolutely did,
I mean, really, there's so much information we want to know, but I can tell you this is what we do know already. Surprising turn of events, Jim Balsley has pledged to keep the Phoenix Coyotes in Glendale this season if he wins the auction for the team. But there's a catch. The Canadian billionaire only plans to keep the team where they are for this season, which starts October 3rd. Now, after that, his lawyers say he intends to move them to Hamilton. Now, that comes unless there's a local bidder that can afford to keep them in Glendale before the end of this year. Now, this is all part of his $242.5 million bid, and this all comes during an emergency hearing today, likely surprising most of those, if not everyone in attendance, including Judge Redfield T. Baum. He called Balsley's proposal, quote, a fairly significant change. You can say that again. Well, the Hamilton Tiger Cats have been known in the past for their tough defense, and this year's version may be one of the best years. The Ticats defense allowed only a field goal to the Stampeders over the last 3 quarters last Friday. In fact, the Cats defense seems stronger as the game goes on, and defense has allowed an average of only 7.6 points over the last 2 quarters this season. But the question is there still room for improvement?
Oh, no, we could get a lot better. You know, I mean, we still got stuff we got to fine-tune every week, and guys just keep working on their crafts. Yeah, we could get better every week.
Definitely good improvement in all 3 phases of our football team. And the defensive players know that they've done a great job, and our defense has played very well. But they also know there's room for improvement, and you know, if we continue with that attitude, we'll be a better football team.
Well, with only 7 games left in the regular CFL season, the playoff drive is about to begin. The race in the West Division is closer than ever. Right now, the Calgary Stampeders, Saskatchewan Roughriders, and Edmonton Eskimos are all tied for the top spot with records of 6 and 5. Just 1 game back, the BC Lions, despite struggling out of the gate with a 1-4 start. There's some big news tonight. The Atlanta Braves says Bobby Cox will retire as manager after the 2010 season. The team says Cox agreed to a 1-year contract extension, then will start a 5-year consulting agreement to advise the team in baseball operations. Now, Cox managed the Braves from 78 to 81. He switched to manage the Jays then from 82 to 85, and he managed the team to its first Eastern Division crown, and that was in 85. New York Yankees were the first team to punch their ticket to the postseason with a 6-5 win over the LA Angels. Alex Rodriguez hit a 2-run home run in the 3rd inning and also had a go-ahead run on a sac fly to the 9th to give the Yankees the win. Jorge Posada also homered. Now the win gave the New York a 6-game lead over Boston in the East and a 5.5-game edge on the Angels for home field advantage at the new Yankee Stadium throughout the postseason. Well, QB Tom Brady and his wife, supermodel Gisele Bündchen, are back in the spotlight. This time, it's because 2 photographers are suing for $1 million. Court papers allege the photogs were shot at during a post-wedding party in Costa Rica by the pair's bodyguards. Now, after they refused to give up their cameras and also their memory cards, the lawsuit also says the bodyguards fired above their car, just missing their heads, causing physical and mental harm. Of course, I see dollar signs on that one. Well, Drew Carey is joining the board of U.S. bidding committee trying to land the World Cup tournament in 2018 or 2022. This isn't coming completely out of left field. Carey is part owner of Major League Soccer Seattle Sounders. Now, FIFA's executive committee will decide in December of 2010 and word on the street is that England and Spain are the leading contenders to host 2018, and the States is top contender for 2022. This is also a good one. Former UFC fighter Quinton Rampage Jackson, who has been at odds with the UFC recently over his up-and-coming film career, says he's finished fighting and he's going to become a full-time actor. Doesn't everyone want to be an actor? And of course, tonight we will have the Leafs are in Buffalo. We'll have those highlights and the Jays highlights.
Right. That guy's taking a page out of the Rock's handbook, I guess.
You're telling me. I mean, everyone seems from singers to everyone wants to be an actor.
Want to be an actor. All right, thanks a lot, Kate. When we come back, Matt Hayes, the weatherman, as he's known around here, will be giving us the 5-day forecast details as we look out over the lake tonight.
Close Closed captioning of this program is brought to you in part by Mainway Hunter Creighton Insurance, celebrating 50 years of service. Let us take care of you.
Welcome back. It's Wednesday, and everyone's looking now forward to the weekend. Matt's in the Weather Center now with a 5-day forecast, including the weekend and just a bit beyond.
Let's just look forward to tomorrow and Friday, shall we?
Then, Matt, yeah.
Yeah, because that's the only point in this forecast where I have any good news. Of course, it's been a shaky week so far. We have seen a lot of cloud, not a lot of rain, and it looks like we're coming to the end of the current stretch. Of course, some positive signs developing over the course of the afternoon with the clearing skies. So we'll see a few clouds overnight tonight. And then tomorrow, we are looking at sunshine, temperatures to 20 degrees, 19 on Friday, so getting a little cooler. But these, of course, are normal values. Again, lots of sunshine. And then, as luck would have it, with the weekend comes rain, 19 on Saturday, 20 on Sunday, 18 on Monday. But we have had several beautiful weekends in a row. So,
Geez, Matt, can't you control all this? You are the weatherman.
Well,
Speaking of somebody who fills in for him part-time.
That's right.
Just want to
have those conversations. Sorry.
All right, that's all the time we have for tonight. We'll see you back here at 11. Good night.
Good night.
You're watching CHCH.